to the Technology Times Digital Transformation series, where we speak with thought leaders, frontier thinkers, opinion molders, and decision makers on digital transformation. You are a notable face and name in the Nigerian tech space. As CEO of Teledom, which you've grown successfully to become a major player in the Nigerian tech space. You were also at one point the president of the Association of Telecommunications Companies of Nigeria, ATCON, before you were eventually called into the government of Akwa Ibom State to hold the influential position of secretary to the government of Akwa Ibom State. Share some thoughts with us. E-governance and digital transformation has become the buzzword. How is your government using technology and technology-enabled services to deliver service to the good people of Akwa Ibom State?
Thank you, Sheila, for having me. The fact is, the World Bank says, and it makes sense, it's logical, that a 10% increase in broadband penetration translates into about 1.3% increase in GDP. And as I say often, what is GDP of a country? What is GDP of a state? I call it the aggregate productivities of citizens, both corporate and individual citizens. So, and it means that when you increase productivity, then you're bettering the lots of people, you're increasing the quality of sources of livelihood, and then the standard of living increases. And therefore, when you automate processes to boost productivity, it matters. It gives you very, very positive dividends. Another point is when you have an effortless access to knowledge, access to data, access to information that you need to use in boosting or increasing the performance of whatever you do and increase the productivity of, or increasing your productivity, that augurs well for the economy of the state or of a nation. So I'm giving that as a basic platform for this discussion. So in Akwa Ibom State, that's the full name of the state, God Almighty State, the governor emphasizes the need to take boys and girls off the streets, not take them off the street to imprison them, take them off the streets to engage them, to employ them, to inspire them, to counsel them, and get them busy. Two, the governor quotes often, and everybody knows that that is correct, that an idle mind is the devil's workshop. And as I said, that the GDP of a state or of a nation, according to aggregate productivities of citizens, corporate and individual. So when you take boys and girls off the streets and they're all very productive, they have their hands on and they have put their hands on the plow to contribute to the growth of the economy, that augurs well for the overall socioeconomic growth and prosperity of the state. So, one, in our educational system, because the bottom line is knowledge, education, to acquire the right knowledge, to empower young people. I call them the touchscreen generation. Even your son or daughter who's used to touching a screen of a phone or a smartphone or a tablet PC or a tablet, he or she is using it to touching and having results. And you may say that they are, because of that, very impatient. All right, so first is in the educational system. And when I was in the industry, we designed and implemented the smart classroom. It was utilized by NCC in many universities, governor universities did for UI, to make sure that the classroom, the learning environment, the teaching environment is creative, is conducive, and is exciting to young people. And therefore, with the broadband internet connectivity and access to knowledge. So the teacher is teaching, and it can be referring to certain pieces of information, sources of knowledge on the internet. So that is an effortless access on the part of young people in classrooms. So you're building their capacity. All right. So in education is an important, we have model schools in Akwa Ibom State. We have an overall program called Akwa Smart. Akwa, as I said, is almighty. Smart is Akwa Smart State, where activities of citizens, as I said, corporate and individual, are smart. It's good to work hard, but it's better to work smart. And we emphasize the need for all Akwa Ibomites to work smart. It's when you work smart that your productivity is increased. So we have introduction of smart classrooms or broadband internet connectivity or broadband access. Not all schools yet, because the resources to do that will take time. But we do it as a pilot, we do it as one peripheral constituency for students to see what it means and how useful it is for you to have an effortless access to knowledge. So in educational system, the Commissioner for Education, the Akwa Ibom State University in Ikora Paneden, then the College of Education, Akwa Ibom State Polytechnic, and a good number of privately owned universities, Obong University, Redman University, now Topfed University, owned by our citizens, privately owned. And all these are aimed at equipping the next generation of Akwa Ibomites with the competencies or with the capacity to excel. As we always say in ICT industry, the world is a global village. And if you want to play in the global village, you must be competitive. Nobody's going to look for you if you're not competent, if you don't know how. Possibility of restoring you to good health is quite high. But the longer you stay between when you had the attack, when you had to suffer the incident, and when there's a rapid response, the higher the probability of you passing on or the situation being really bad. So we then said, okay, fine. During the COVID-19 lockdown, I was privileged to be appointed the chairman of the COVID-19 management team appointed by His Excellency the Governor. So in the process, I learned a lot. That during the lockdown, 99% of Nigerians had network private jets in Lagos and Abuja, and Port Harcourt were parked. And the question is, you are high net worth, wait to suffer or have any medical emergency that would need 3 hours for you to be alive. Would you fly 10 hours to South Africa, 7 hours to Dubai, 14 hours to India, 6 or 7 hours to Europe, or 10 or 15 hours to the UK or to US and Canada? we would have passed on inside their private jet. So we said, wait a minute, you come to you, get stabilized. When you get stabilized by telepresence or telemedicine connectivity to your hospital abroad, you will be revived in Uyo and stabilized. And you can use our air ambulance to go to your hospital of interest or of preference. And we say, wait a minute, we take a bit of the pie. We take a bit of the pie of what we spend as a nation on medical tourism outside the shores of Nigeria. So that's the sense of the 10 hospitals in one each of the 10 federal constituencies, then Ibom multi-specialty hospital, well-equipped, state-of-the-art. You remember during the COVID-19, all right, the piece of equipment used, the ventilators and all that to stabilize those who were suffering from COVID-19, especially those who had comorbidities of diabetes, high blood pressure, cardiovascular challenges. And those comorbidities made the COVID-19 patient very vulnerable, or the possibility of fatality being high because he had those comorbidities. We already had these pieces of equipment in us in Akwa Ibom State. And then the automation of our processes in the Ibom, the isolation center, 300 bed space that was all over the news, that would beat the Chinese record. In 35 days, a 300 bed space isolation center, well equipped, well automated, was done. The governor gave a directive, the commissioner for works, the commissioner for health. I was there most of the night with floodlights. All these were ready in less than 35 days. And if you go there, processes are automated. Not because we want to enjoy processes being automated, everywhere is computerized. No. Are you increasing efficiency? Are you increasing performance? Are you increasing rapid response? Are you doing a lot of good work to post-treatment patient care? Because a lot of the times after surgery, after treatment, the patient goes back home. How is he or she being frequently monitored or invited to come for another check by the medic? So this is what we do in Akwa Ibom State to get all these hospitals, the 10 of them, up to date with very highly competent members of staff and interconnected, where if you have an expert, simple telepresence. You and I know this, we are just applying technology. That is the point. A medic is an expert in a certain area of medicine, and the needy Akwa Ibom is another general hospital, far away, about 1 hour plus. And if there's an emergency, you run the risk of losing that person. But providing broadband connectivity, 4G, 5 or 4G, 3G, simple camera, you won't believe it. The consultant sees the patient, and the young doctor or nurse who is in the remote hospital, who is not as competent or good, or as experienced as the one in another general hospital, is able to put that his expertise at the disposal of a needy Akwa Ibomite in a hospital that is far away from where the expert is. Simple application of broadband technology or telepresence. That's with respect to the health sector. The next is agricultural sector. Food. A hungry man is an angry man. Not to talk of someone who is idle, who is the devil's workshop, also being hungry. All right? The governor emphasized that 80% of the food we consume in Akwa Ibom State should be produced in Akwa Ibom State. If you go to the governor's lodge today, more than 80% of the food that is consumed in the governor's lodge produced in Akwa Ibom State, so that we can have food security. And what is happening, is that our people produce a lot of these things perish. They have a time beyond which they lose the crop, they lose the yield or their product. Because storage condition, preservation conditions, transportation even. How will you carry tomato in a basket and put one on top of the other? You mangle the one underneath, but they need simple information. Some will not even know the market. We don't know, because business is about you giving those who are in need, all right, of certain services, what you have. So those who are in need must know you have it, and you should also know that certain persons in certain locations, in certain places, are in need of what you have. So we're able to inform farmers. What I used to say in the industry, agrovision, which all of you remember. So which kind of soil would enable a farmer to plant what kind of crop? Agroecological mapping of the state to match plant type to the best soil type. When that is done, the yield is higher. So with simple pieces of software. The fourth is democracy. Election term. Shido, the last general election, elections ended about 4 p.m. as stipulated by INEC. In less than 15 minutes after the end of the election, we knew the result. I mean, we knew the scores statewide. We did our electoral management system, simple text messages, email, and WhatsApp in each of the polling units. And the polling agents fed in the data. They were already trained on how to feed in the data. I repeat, at the end of the election, I was in the control room. I had finished voting in my village. I returned. 15 minutes after, we knew where we were. So it was difficult. Well, you couldn't play any mago-mago. We used the mago-mago. The feed component, as per the security, they're breaking into prisons. Oh, CCTV camera was on or it was off. Breaking, letting criminals, letting them loose on the society. Those who should have been behind bars. Then all of us then in our various homes, we should also run to stay behind our burglar proof. So we're actually the free people are the one actually behind bars now. Should then lose criminals. No CCTV, you're telling me? No 3G camera? That's what we call in Akwa Ibom State safety. When you're able to visit Akwa, you see our safe city solution. You don't see where the cameras are until you arrive our NOC, the Network Operation Center. Then you see the outputs of the camera with time and date specific playback. In other words, an event occurs in any part of Uyo, any street of Uyo. And so, oh, this happened 2 days ago, 5 days ago. What date you mentioned? You log on, then you see the output of the camera that was actually monitoring that part of the city. So it helps in criminal investigation. It enables the law enforcement officers or agents to respond rapidly. Simple walkie-talkie, simple telephone, simple WhatsApp, simple email, simple law enforcement criminal database that I used to talk about. I used to say a lot about that when I was in ATCON. That our security agencies, there's insufficient inter-agency collaboration and cooperation. Nigeria has no criminal database. Somebody drives in my hometown, Oron, and he was driving at excessive speed and he was apprehended by the police. The same person leaves Oron and goes to Uyo, behaves exactly the same way. There is no database in which the policeman at the checkpoint will say, wait a minute, you did this earlier in the morning and you're doing it here now. Or he moves to Ikorakmane to Aba to whether to Nisha, to Asaba, to Agbo, Agba to Benin to Ore to Shagamu, then to Lagos. No way, because there is no law enforcement criminal database that you log on. You can profile someone and say, wait a minute, this guy is a serial offender as far as this particular crime is concerned, as far as this is area of infraction of the law is concerned. None. So at the Security Council, we developed that. For our agencies, we hold meetings very regularly, all the agencies. Army, Navy, Air Force, Immigration, Civil Defense, Customs, Prison, or the Correctional Service. They must interact. And your tool and my tool is a very good platform for them to interact. We provide a platform and they all interact and they would exchange ideas. The last aspect that we that been part of the area that we handle is in the area of citizen participation in day-to-day governance. Or government, the boost of government, corporate governance in government itself. We call it e-government or e-governance. Files upon files. My governor says files are not pieces of papers, they are human lives. That's a fact. But when you hold a file, inside that file you have documents, projects, programs, issues, applications, approvals. So take each file as an important piece of document in front of you, but that is actually a human being, or even human beings therein. So in our e-government, you can see the governor calls, sends emails, you send emails to him, you sign the document using his stylus. The governor is a technology-savvy person. Secretary of the government does not deal with technology, so it's to save time. Send the email, use the platform, use our e-government platform, and you interact. Right now we are doing asset management for the entire state. We are doing agile management system for the entire state. When were you recruited? When were you last promoted? When are you going to retire? When will you last advance, according to, in the civil service structure? When are you due to go on leave? When did you go to leave last? Why were you not promoted when others were promoted? When were you last interviewed? And when, at the time of when you're about to retire, your gratuity and pension, the HR software automated this, and it's working. We just launched it. We are about to launch our asset management. Whatever the government procures, cars, computers, equipment of government, and houses and buildings of government, all in our asset management. So government knows what is in place and what belongs to government, what is aging, what needs replacement, what needs repair. The last bit of platform, software-based platform, is our completion agenda radar. I give it that name, the completion agenda radar. This is what completion agenda radar means. All the ongoing projects of government. What is the name of the project? Where is the project located? Who is handling the project? What are the time frame to get this project completed? And when was this particular contractor last paid? Overall milestone payment? When is his next payment? What
ATCON and a lot of industry stakeholders have consistently pushed this advocacy about smart say and extending broadband across all parts of Nigeria. In doing this, they've pushed the advocacy for the extension of ubiquitous fiber, optical fiber cable to every state and every local government under this smart state initiative. And states have also been saying to support telecoms operator, fiber companies in the areas of giving concessions on laying of fiber, the taxes paid and related. How is your state supporting this smart state initiative?
First, approval for right-of-way is effortlessly given. The broadband company concerned did not spend extra 1 minute before getting the approval, because we know that delaying that approval will delay the deployment of broadband fiber, and that translates into boosting our productivity as a state. So we don't joke with that. Number two, the infracos, the way NCC had licensed them, and then what I call the downstream licensees who are working under the umbrella of the infracos. Whatever, if you want the right of way, if you want the location to put up your cell site or to put your broadband wireless base station, all right, or you need access to one part of the state or the other, or in the particular local government headquarters, and the youth around the area, they put up a roadblock. Everybody is tax. We don't tolerate that at all. So from time to time, we hold meetings with the local government chairman, that this is what this investor is coming. It's not a government contract. It's an investor who is properly licensed by the Nigerian Communications Commission, and the government has given that company the right of way to deploy fiber. This is for your own good. You remember in the telecom industry when they used to vandalize cell sites, and during the Telecom Consumer Parliament, we say this very frequently. Dear citizens, do not attack men and women who go to cell sites to build or to maintain. Because if the cell site drops, this call that you make from one place to the other, it hops through so many cell sites. From the BAC to the MACs from the calling party to the call party. The segments, the media through which these signals or communication or content is being transmitted it's not important to the call party or to the calling party. But if you tamper by slowing down cell site maintenance or cell site establishment or right-of-way approvals, you are the loser. So at the end of the day, you have call drops, or you have been trying since I couldn't get you because one of the segments was down. So who's the loser? So until people got to know that it's for your own good, not to discourage or tamper with or destroy or fight telecom technicians. You and I know now for how many years now, you no longer hear the telcos complaining of roadblocks by all kinds of vigilante groups wanting them to pay one thing or the other. And because I said, I should tell NCC, if this continues, the time will come when these boys and girls in the respective local government areas will look at you, will see your telephone handset, and they say you should pay a small fee for holding a handset. If we did not stop what was brewing. But fortunately, with the aggressive campaign by you, the media, because I called you guys the drivers of the digital economy narrative. You are the ones who carry the message to the grassroots and to the average Nigerian citizen, corporate or individual. So approvals, because that is Akwa Ibom State, we have very enlightened persons who understand the industry in key positions. So we make sure that those are coming to us. Even Cassie of Google is establishing his base in Akwa Ibom State today. We have Google Triangle that is partnering, that is part of the Cassie deployment. That is in Akwa Ibom. Main one is there, Glow One is there, Wax is there, MTN. So even there are some estates in Akwa Ibom State that they operate like MTN and Airtel, they are providing broadband connectivity in those states that are just site and services. You have site and services, you have broadband internet, waste management, street network, electricity, safe city, all provided. Just come and get your plot of land and then you remember, and then you be given the type. You have mango street, all mango, orange trees, street, guava street, African fruits in the estate, and a lot of people are really coming to buy plots in the estate because it's purely a very smart estate, but with broadband internet connectivity provided by NTN. Other operators are interested in one estate or the other, or Ibom Deep Seaport, or Bitoota International Airport, that is the hub of Ibom Air. People are booking online and making payment online. So you cannot afford to delay business, to delay productivity by allowing unnecessary bureaucracy in the process of giving approvals.
Is there anything we left out in the course of this interaction you might want to add before we shut down?
Public enlightenment, because as I said yesterday, if you, during the launch of the book on the drivers of digital prosperity, that is within the purview of the media. As a nation, as Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, as Nigerian Communication Commission, as NICDA, our state governments, all hands must be on deck to empower members of the media. We think that because we conquered voice that we are able to make calls effortlessly, without you having to pay a lot of money or going to United Exchange to make international calls, that's just 1%. Voice is just 1%. But broadband-based national economic prosperity, the narratives will be driven by the media. And they did a lot of good work, a lot of good work to amplify the GSM revolution, the telecom revolution. Today, as you see it, they drove the narratives. So that is an area that NCC, NICDA, Ministry of Communication, Ministry of Science and Tech, various state governments, we are not able to I call ourselves practitioners within the industry, operators of the industry, to give them sufficient time and attention and resources to let the Nigerian citizen to know that yes, voice was conquered, that you can make calls and have your mobile phone without having going through any stress, or make international call without going to United Telephone Exchange.